so I'm not a huge fan of superhero films. I like them just as much as I like old monster movies. So consider me a normie. Consider me just a normal average moviegoer when it comes to superhero films. Now, I've gotten kind of tired of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, just like the Iron Man and the Thor and Avengers and whatnot. I mean, it's fine. It's just like Wolfman versus Swamp Thing or something like that. You know what I mean? It's movies that are obviously being pumped out and they're cranking the handle and just put another movie out. And I was going to be going to see Black Panther because it looked okay. But again, I was starting to get a little bit bored of this. And then I realized that the internet and like Disney and stuff like that, or I think it might be Disney, or it might just be like the journalists. I'm not sure what started this, but either way, it has just been nuts on the internet. This movie has been so politicized and hyped up. I think that I'm going to call this hype poison. I think Black Panther was poisoned by hype. So I'm not going to go see it because all of the craziness on the internet is just going to negatively affect my opinion. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait several years, like wait a decade or so, and then if that movie is still recommended, if it's still relevant, then I'll watch it. Like a lot of the films I watch are actually quite old. I watch the films that are brought up by people like, oh, like that film, or like that film. I don't go just by a list. I don't go by whatever's in the theater. I like to go by what is memorable. And I fear that a lot of the Marvel movies aren't very memorable. Like the first Iron Man's, I remember bits and parts of it. I don't really remember the rest of them. And a lot of the movies kind of just blend together. So, what's happened on the internet? Basically, this is a regular Marvel film, except for you're racist if you don't like it. And so we're going down that road. So of course, a lot of people don't want to say they don't like it, and evidently Rotten Tomatoes actually made it, they banned people from doing any reviews that weren't 100% for a while. So you were required to do a 100% review. Well, there's no point in having a review then if it's required. And then eventually there was one negative review allowed on there. And then there's like articles written about how that person's racist and how they're horrible. It's like, you know, they didn't like the film. What's wrong? Like, the movie should hold up on their own. You don't have to write articles calling them racist. You don't have to do all that stuff. And Casey Neistat made a video reviewing it. And honestly, I couldn't take it very seriously because Casey Neistat is a big YouTuber, in case you're not familiar with him. And he has proven several times, well, he does what's best for his own interests, for the most part. And you can definitely tell there are several videos of his where he has been pressured into making them and he is not being genuine in them. For instance, his video about who I'm going to vote for, or who I will vote for president. Either way, it was a video where he was strongly advocating for Hillary Clinton. And you could just tell it just felt weird. He felt like he wasn't having fun with it. And Philip DeFranco actually mentioned in the end of one of his videos, I can't remember, because Philip DeFranco is very much on the same tier. He's like top level masters of YouTube pretty much. And he alluded, if I remember correctly, he alluded to that YouTube or somebody was heavily trying to push him into making videos pushing his fan base to vote for Clinton. Like it was an effort to get everyone to indoctrinate their viewers into voting for Clinton and not just like letting them decide on their own. And I think it's pretty obvious that Casey Neistat did whatever he was told and made that video. And now I'm getting the same feeling from this Black Panther video of his where, well, he has a very overhyped experience with it, because, well, it starts off like he's already decided he's going to like the film, and then he goes to a theater and he gets to, before watching the film, if I remember correctly, maybe it was after, I think it's before, he watches a Q&A where the actors in the film are there and the director is there and they talk about how great the film is, and then they watch the film. Well, I mean, I didn't like Star Wars 2 or 3, but if I had George Lucas and the cast standing up on stage and we got to ask them questions before the film, and then we had George Lucas like, oh, it's going to be the best thing ever. It's going to be the best entry in the series. I'll be like, hell yeah, it's going to be the best entry in the series. I'll love this, and I'll love it. Because I am primed to react positively to that. But the average person is not going to have the experience of having the cast and the crew up on stage before the film. So that's not a very, that's a very biased review. But also I think somebody probably asked him to favorably talk about it, because I don't think I've ever seen Casey Neistat do a review of a movie before. So that's very out of the ordinary. So yeah, it's just so strange how, like, all the crazy left-wingers and whatnot are, like, there's so many articles on the internet about how it's the first movie with an all-black cast. And it's like, well, wait, what about I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker? Sucker. It's an old 80s film. I mean, because this film has, Black Panther has a couple white people in it, I think. So it's like, surely there's been other films that have a lot of black people in it. But here's the bigger thing. Who gives a fuck? Seriously. Like, I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. If someone looks great for the part, cast them. I don't get it whenever people, like, get upset for, what's the term, blackwashing, whenever they have, like, a black actor playing a white person, and I don't get upset whenever they have whitewashing, when they have the white person playing a black or an Asian person, which that's going into a whole other thing whenever Asian people tend to have the same skin color as Westerners. Anyway, that's a whole other, like, I don't get race. But yeah, it's so weird, because the far leftists on the internet are showing their racist side, where everything's a race, everything's a sex, everything has to fit in a little box, which is called intersectionality, actually. So the intersectionalists are all about that. And so then, of course, if you say even a hint of something where you just don't like the film, or you don't think it's going to be good, then you're obviously a Nazi and a racist and a psychopath, and just, it's like, oh God, seriously, what if someone just doesn't want to see the film? So this is not a review of the film, this is a review of the current situation around the film. I'll see the film someday in the future, maybe, if it's relevant. If not, it'll probably be just another mediocre Marvel film that'll kind of just go off into the ether, and maybe I'll find it on a disc someday and think about watching it. But honestly, there's so many other good films to watch. I've really been wanting to watch Your Name, which is an anime from, I believe, 2015. That one looks pretty good. So yeah, it's just so weird. I think if it's not a phrase, I will call it this from now on. Hype poison, or yeah, poison hype? Hype poisoned. The movie was poisoned by internet hype. Whether it was initiated by the advertising or the marketing agencies, or if it was just by people on their own, it's just kind of come to that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I didn't go see Black Panther because, like, my mom and her husband are watching it, like, as we speak. So yeah, I'll ask them what they thought of it. But my problem is, my mom was really into it, but she didn't know anything about it. So it's like, well, I think she got really hyped up about it, and she doesn't really know anything about it, and so it's like, well, how can you know for sure if it's going to be a good film or not? Now, my mom didn't really say that it's going to be a good film. I interacted with some people on the YouTube comment system, and I think I actually did it on Casey Neistat's video, and I got some very interesting responses. one person even said that they haven't seen the film, but it's going to be better than the Dark Knight, the Christopher Nolan, the Batman film from like 2005 or something like that. And it's like, you haven't even seen the film, you haven't even let it age. It's new, and yet you're saying it's going to be better than the Dark Knight. That's a lot of that's really poisoned by the hype. I cannot stand hype. Hype ruins everything. If it turns out to be good, then it ruins your excitement and your surprise. If it turns out to be bad, it ruins it even more and just gives you something to hate. I like going into a movie not really knowing anything about it, and then if it's really good, I'm like, wow, that was awesome. I can't believe that it was that good. Or like, well, it's kind of bad, but well, kind of happens. But if you're all hyped up, then you have more of that like ego or something. Just you become crazy. Like, oh my God, how could it be so terrible? Kind of like how it was with Star Wars, because, well, okay, I wasn't really hyped for Star Wars, but I was interested, and I was hoping that they would do something. Yeah, I was a little hyped, okay. And that was kind of one reason why I was really sour about how they really messed up Episode 8. Anyway, that's good enough for now. I would like to hear what you guys think about it. And do you think the internet has pretty much way overreacted and gone crazy? Because what's bad, like there's some articles going on about like, how could that one person make that one dislike of the movie? Now the Rotten Tomatoes score is 99%. How could they do that, those monsters? And it's like, whoa, chill out. It's just a review score. It's just a review score. If you like the film, that's great. I like some films that have like a 5% review. Doesn't mean they're bad. Okay, anyway. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for watching. See ya.